By now you've probably realized I love decorative stitches, and there's some amazing stitches on the Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q. Now in this video we're going to talk about stitching out your decorative stitches, creating a stitch book, and a few things that will surprise you as you take the time to stitch them out. So everything that we do with the Stitching Cosmos online course revolves around using stitches that you might not think about using, because when you see them stitched out, they always look amazing and they look totally different than what you see on the screen. Now, if you haven't already clicked the like button on our YouTube channel on every video that you watch, this helps us greatly. And then don't forget to subscribe. We put out some amazing content and you don't want to miss it. So here what I've been doing is actually just taking a piece of fabric with stabilizer. Stabilizer is key, to stitch out a couple rows of decorative stitches. Now I've also switched over to some variegated thread. This one is a signature 40 weight, so it has a little fun pop to it as well. Variegated threads always add just like a fun little pop as you're stitching them. And remember, yes, you can step on your foot control and hold your foot down, but you can also use the stop button. And I am not stepping on the foot control, but what I am going to do is utilize one of the functions of the scissor button as I get closer to the end of the fabric. Then that way it will actually finish the design, lock it, see what it's doing now, and then letting the foot lift. So all I have to do is enjoy the stitch that I'm stitching and then pick the next stitch and stitch it out. Now, sometimes when you pick a stitch, like for example, when I pick this one, if we look at the size or width of it, this one actually, it did surprise me. It was actually wider than the 7mm wide stitches. Now we're going to get into a whole nother video of the sideways motion stitches, but some of the stitches in here will surprise you because they're going to stitch a little to the left and a little to the right as they go. And here we knew that, or I would have known it if I had looked, but it says 8.5mm wide. So for it to get to that sideways width, it had to move the fabric a little each time. So that is just something you don't realize it until you start to stitch. Certain stitches are bigger than just that normal 7mm wide. So here's how you can do it. You can just pick the next stitch after your last one, select the stop button, use the edge of your presser foot to run along the previous row of stitches if you want them to stay nice and parallel, and just take some time to stitch them out. I know anybody who does this always says that this is such an amazing ability to work through your machine. You get comfortable of selecting stitches, what they're going to look like, how big they are. You might be inspired to use them with something else, and it doesn't take long for you to have a good understanding of the stitches that are in the different groupings. So even if you don't stitch them all out, which of course you're going to want to, you can actually see that these are very unique as we're stitching. Now, let's just stop for a second. Let's touch that. Aha, 8.6. So I'm going to let you see what, if you watch over here, while it's stitching, it's moving the fabric just a little left and right to be able to give us this slightly wider than 7mm wide stitch. So again, you're just going to keep it visibly kind of parallel, and then that way you can kind of work to keep everything nice and straight. So there is an art form to that. Like I said, we'll do that when we talk about sideways motion stitches. But as you can see, just take your time to sew out some of these stitches. Enjoy the process. We're gonna put a link to how to make the ultimate stitch book here at the end of this video and in the description below. Check out the Stitching Cosmos online course, because that's where you're really going to explore additional functions and give you a reason to start using these stitches. Now, these stitches also look amazing when you switch over and use a twin needle. So yes, you could put in another spool of thread, so 2 spools, and the same stitch we've stitched here with a twin needle will look totally different. So make sure you check out the twin needle video as well. All right, make sure you click like on every video you watch and subscribe to our channel.